Awesome. I'm going to start off really quick to see who in the room here has had a $2,000 sale. Raise your hands. Okay, cool. Who has had a $2,000 upgrade? Okay. Who has had at least 10 of them this year? Who's had five? Who's had three? Okay, cool. So the point of this whole talk is that, you're not, what I find is like most times you're not really going to get the opportunity to sell a big upgrade all the time. It's kind of like asking also who in the group here has sold 10 ultimates this year, right? Not a lot of y'all. So, what I'm going to, Vane, did you talk about what I'm going to go over today?
Not yet.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to go over today really is I'm going to teach you guys on how to sell an upgrade, but I'm actually going to teach you on how to sell three different types of upgrades. I specifically do this quite often just because you find a price point where people can spend $500, $600, someone that can spend $1,000, and then someone that can spend $2,000, and then someone that can spend typically $4,000. I'm going to go over the first three specifically on the $500, the $600 upgrade, the $1,000 upgrade, and the $2,000 upgrade. If you guys do this, you're going to close a lot more sales. And because what I typically find if you're working with a customer, you pitch them a $2,000 upgrade and they're like, yeah, I don't know if I want to spend $2,000. And then they don't buy anything. Or maybe you sell one knife, right? So what this does, it's going to increase your average upgrade closing ratio, and just your average order on that case. Cool. So let's see. So uh, we have I kind of put this together, and I don't know if anybody really is doing this in the country, but I do it. Uh, what I typically do, the way I start off is I pull out the family program brochure. Does everybody have that? Raise your hands. Family program. Okay, cool. So what I do is I take out the family program brochure and I say, yeah, the nice thing about Cutco is we actually have what's called a mini upgrade. The mini upgrade, it's super simple. This is for people that already have a set. Maybe they have an ultimate. Maybe they're looking for a gift. Maybe they just want to see what's new, right? And I say, yeah, the way the mini upgrade works, it's super simple. It's five pieces. It's and then these are the ones I pull out, and then I let them know also that it's 100% customizable. But I say, yeah, you get a 4-inch paring knife, you get a Santoku trimmer, you get a boning knife, which is for all your raw meats, and then you get like that little mini Santoku or that 4-inch vegetable knife, and then you also get a cheese knife with it. Um, and then usually what I'm doing for each part of it is I'll say something like, okay, cool. So out of the paring knives here, which paring knife would you want? Would you want the 4-inch, the bird's beak, the Santoku paring knife? And then they'll say, oh, I would love the 4-inch. Okay, cool. And out of those trimmers, which one do you like better? Do you like the Santoku trimmer or do you like the regular trimmer? Oh, well, I already use that trimmer. I want a second one of it. Okay. And then I asked him, did you like that boning knife or that salmon knife that I showed you? Oh, I really prefer that salmon knife. Okay, cool. And then the chef's knife, did you like that 7-inch, the 5-inch, the hardy slicer, or the 4-inch veggie knife? Which one fits better for you? Oh, I definitely would do the hardy slicer. Okay. And then on those cheese knives, did you like the little baby ones or did you like the large one? Oh, I would definitely do like the large one. Okay. And then on the cutting boards, which size would you pick out? Would you pick out a small, medium, or large? And then they'll say, yeah, I think the medium would be good. And then I'm like, okay, cool. So like if you did that, and then does everybody have a price binder? Raise your hands if you have a price binder. If you don't, it's going to be really difficult to do this, right? It's kind of like being in construction and not having your tools. So you're going to need the tools. So I definitely, if you don't have the tools, you're going to have to either borrow them or you're going to have to rent them or you're not going to be able to do the job effectively. So just full transparency. I know some of y'all, this is like, advanced training for y'all, something that's new, but if you ever work with a construction company, you want them to have tools. So as a rep, I would encourage y'all to get tools. So the binder, it has a price point on there that says the normal price is like 680. We do it for 600. And I say, yeah, the nice thing about when you buy this is like everything that we just customize, it's going to be about the same price. So your payment's going to be about 120 a month or 600 bucks for the package. And they're like, oh wow, that's really affordable. I'm like, yeah, that's the first package. The second package that we have, this is called our barbecue upgrade. Now, this is for people who love to barbecue. This is for people who love to meal prep. And this is for anybody that just wants the big knives. I also sell this to a lot of chefs. So that's the way I framed the second set, which is the barbecue set. The barbecue set is the gourmet set. How many of y'all have sold gourmet sets? How many of y'all sold 10 this year? You sold 10, JR?
Oh,
so, so I think I was like probably one or two in the entire country last year that sold gourmet sets, and I did it like this, just so you guys know. So the nice thing about the gourmet set, then I go over the same pieces, right? This one has the meat cleaver. This one's good for all your meats, your fajitas, stuff like that. This is your boning knife for all your raw meat. The hardy slicer for like ribs, sausage. If you're in the valley, right? Everybody makes menudo. So I always ask, do you make menudo? I hand them the hardy slicer and they're like, man, this is a good knife. I'm like, yeah, it feels great, right? It's gonna hold an edge. Then I show them the 7-inch Santoku. This is for your chopping, your dicing, your cilantro, your onion, and stuff like that. And then your vegetable knife. This is gonna be for like your heavy duty chopping. And it's also gonna be good for people that want to help you in the kitchen. So now you have a second one, right? So I say, and then I say, yeah, this set, it also comes with a medium cutting board, but you get all the big knives. And now they're like, oh yeah, I have the homemaker, the galley at home. These are pieces I don't have. I'm like, exactly. I'm like, the nice thing is, if you decide to do it, you only put $200 down today. And this is for people again who don't want to do the full upgrade. They don't want the small upgrade, but they want the big pieces. So I sell a ton of these this way. And then the third one is the complete upgrade, right? And I keep it super simple. I'm like, yeah, this is for people who love to cook. They have the basic set, but then they want the barbecue knives and some of those other pieces we picked out in the mini upgrade. So this one is really nice because you can pick out any 9 knives that you want. You get 4 steak knives. You can get the small, large ones. You get the shears, and you can also do the cutting boards and things like that. And this one's going to be about 400 to 500 a month for the payments. And then typically, like when I go through that process, I say, so let me ask you, like, if you were considering adding on to your set today, would you do the mini upgrade? Would you do the barbecue upgrade? Or would you do the complete upgrade? And then people pick out which one they want. Well, tell me more about the barbecue upgrade. And then I go over the pieces all over again. And I say, yeah, if you decide to do that today, it's only 200 bucks. And then this is where you can add on shears, you can add on a cutting board, you can add on whatever pieces like in the mini upgrade, and you can even throw them in for free or just add them on to sell more. So this is a super simple approach. So just to kind of backtrack again, it's very easy. So we have customer walks up, hey, what's new? And you show them one piece at a time. Hey, just so you know, for customers just like y'all, we actually have something what's called Cutco actually has 3 different upgrades. We have a mini upgrade, a barbecue upgrade, and a complete upgrade. The mini upgrade is just a couple pieces, 5 pieces. The barbecue upgrade is all the barbecue knives, all the big knives. People like to chop meat and stuff like that. And then the complete upgrade is pretty much like all the tools. Which one do you want me to show you? They'll tell you which one you want, which one they want to see, and then that's when you can actually describe each one and kind of go deeper into like what I was talking about. A couple key points, kind of what I talked about here. The goal is to start small and also build from there. I have customers that call me every 6 months and they do mini upgrades because they're not ready to buy sets. So they keep on doing a mini upgrade, mini upgrade, mini upgrade, 500-600 bucks, 500-600 bucks. But I get them to spend, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 over time, but they're doing it in $500-600 increments. And then I have customers that call me for the barbecue upgrade, and later they buy another barbecue upgrade. And now they're buying barbecue sets for like all their family members because I positioned that as one of the sets for an upgrade. The other thing is like customers love making it custom. So when you're doing like the little 5-piece mini upgrade, it's a custom upgrade. You're literally handing them the knife to pick out what they want, and every time they say yes to it, it's one more yes closer to a sale. It's a very easy transitional sale. So once you get the 5 or 6 pieces, you're like, yeah. So since you picked out all the pieces that you like, and you know it's $120 a month, is that something that you want to do today? And then they're like, yeah, sure. I mean, makes sense. I picked out like, and then I always ask, I say, hey, is there anything that you would change? They're like, nope, nothing. I would change nothing. Maybe I would add on the shears. I'm like, cool, add on the shears. It's an extra $30 a month, right? You don't have to oversell this. You just present the 3 options: the mini, the barbecue, the complete, and then ask which one. And then you go deeper into it. It's super simple. I use the brochure as a tool, not a crutch. Um, I usually have like one of those magnetic boards. So if I'm talking about the 5 pieces, I'm literally saying, okay, cool. So you want this 4-inch tray knife? And I put it on the magnet board. If you don't have a magnet board, then I just have a cutting board out and I throw it on the cutting board and say, okay, cool. So you want these 5. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. And then, it's really not about getting them to spend the most money. It's about trying to get the most amount of sales for a big audience and getting a lot of them. So if you can get people to commit to spending $500 to $1,000 for an upgrade, and you sell 7 of those in a day, now you have a $7,000 day. It adds up super fast versus being like, hey, do you want the ultimate upgrade? And they're like, oh, I don't know if I want to spend $2,500. Well, I'll just take a trimmer. And you're like, okay, cool. Let me write it up, $90, right? Versus getting $500 to $1,000 at a time. People feel way more comfortable about spending 100, $200 a month than they do spending 400 to 500 on a full upgrade. And you can tinker this, right, and do like a 7-piece upgrade, a 10-piece upgrade. But if you want to keep it super simple for a customer, then this is kind of what y'all do. But I wanted to keep this message simple for y'all. That way you guys can absorb this information and implement. I'll take some questions if anybody has any questions on this.
So, Joseph, I have a question. So regarding upgrading, you're using the concept of upgrading them to whatever you show on the family program?
So I'll grab the family program and I'll just use the little 5-piece tray as like part of like the mini upgrade. I'm like, yeah, this is the mini upgrade, right? And then I'll typically use my sales binder thing as a barbecue upgrade, and then I'll use the other one as a complete upgrade. But you can do the same thing with the sales binder. You can say, yeah, this is a 5-piece. I tried the reason why I'm using the sorry the family program is because I don't want to show prices. So I'm saying, yeah, this is a 5-piece, and then we have a medium set, which is the barbecue set, and then we have a complete set, which is 9 knives, 4 steak knives, which is going to end up at the ultimate. And then they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, if you were considering adding on, which one do you think you would want? And then they're like, well, I just like this little 4-inch veggie knife, and I do like that 4-inch paring knife, and I do like that cheese knife. I'm like, can I show you that little mini upgrade on what it looks like? And now you turned a $300 sale into like a $600 sale. And then you can add on shears, you can add on 4 steak knives, and now you're selling like $500 to $800 per package.
And you're having them choose before you show pricing on the binders. Like when
Um,
you the
yeah, so I'll say something like, so if you like that mini upgrade, can I show you what it comes with? And they're like, yeah, sure, right? And then I say, yeah, so it comes with any paring knife that you want. So if you were going to get this today, which paring knife would you want? Would you want the 4-inch? Would you want the 2 3/4? Would you want the bird's beak, the Santokus? And then they're choosing. And then I'm like, cool. Would you want the Santoku trimmer or would you want the trimmer? Oh, I would definitely want a Santoku trimmer. Okay. Would you want a boning knife? Would you want a salmon knife? I would go with boning knife because it would complement what you have already. And they're like, yeah, great. And I'm like, you have a chef's at home, but what if you want like a little chopper, like a 5-inch or like a 7-inch or a Hardy slicer? Which one works best for you? Oh, the Hardy. And then you don't have the cheese knife at home. Oh, you do have the cheese knife already? Oh, people love that cheese knife so much that we came out with this little one. So you can actually do this little one. And they're like, oh yeah, this little one. I love it. It's so cool. And then they're already bought in. So at that point, you're just like, so if you wanted to do this, if you bought every piece that we sell here, it'd be $100 to $200 per piece, or 100, When you do it as a package, Cutco discounts it to $600 for 120 a month. And you also get the cutting board with it too. And you also get the tray. And then that's when I pull out the pricing and I say, yeah, this is what it actually costs. And then typically most people are like, oh man, that's actually like not a bad deal. And I'm like, yeah, did you want to do that today? And they're like, yeah, sure. And I'm like, and by the way, if you want to add on the shears and you want to add on these accessories, and then I start selling stuff as a package. But who would be excited about kind of, talking to the next customer and knowing that maybe they're not the person that can afford $2,000 to $3,000 for an upgrade, but a person that can afford 100, $200 a month for like a gourmet set or for like a 5 piece. And that's really what this talk is about, is like how to really sell mini upgrades on a 5 piece and how to sell them on a barbecue set. And I'll do this all day long at the booth. Like every show I do, I sell probably 1 to 3 gourmet sets because of this pitch right here. Any other questions?
Yeah, Joseph, I have a question. When it comes to the pricing, do you just use the optimized feature to get it to
Uh,
that price, or do you give the exact
no,
price?
I just use I just use what's in the price binder, because I find if I'm sticking with the 4-inch paring knife, a Santuca trimmer, a boning knife, a chef's knife, and like a cheese knife and a training cutting board, it all comes out to the same price roughly. Like maybe you're $10 under or $10 over. But you can also, like, if you're worried about the pricing, you just tell customer, oh yeah, it might be like a couple bucks difference when I show it to you. And then they're like, oh, okay. And then what happens is like this opens up into like something where we call swapping. So if somebody wants to do the 5 piece, but they're like, well, I can only think of 4 knives that I really want to do on the upgrade. And I'm like, well, the way the upgrade works is we can swap it. So we can put shears in there instead, and then you pay the difference. And then once you do it, they pay the difference and you're good. So it's just a way faster way to sell upgrades without getting too complicated on selling a $2,000 set, and you're going to close more because it's a smaller price point. Um, it's only 100, $200 a month. It's really not that much.
Anyone on the Sumo have any questions for Joseph?
I know Isaac has questions. Isaac always has questions.
Um, what would be like the biggest thing that you've learned that you would suggest practicing before we go to like our first training? Because I haven't done my first field training yet. So I want to know what I can do beforehand to practice.
You want to are you asking how to practice to go field training, or how to practice to go actually go do an event?
Go do an event.
Okay. Yeah, if you're to go to an event, one thing I did when I started down there in McAllen, and I think I did like 30 or 40,000 my first summer. And that's when like the homemaker was like $800. So it was like a lot harder to get to that number. Um, but one thing I did, I went to Vector Connect, I went to the video library or the audio library, and I just downloaded like 50 different things. And while I was driving around visiting customers at appointments, I was just listening to that in between. Because if you think about it, right, I don't know how long your training is today, but let's say it's 1 to 3 hours. And then maybe in a week or two, you get another 1 to 3 hours. So what I was doing, the same thing I do now, is I'm trying to get 5 to 7 hours of training per day. So by the time I actually get there, I'm already 50 hours ahead of the person next to me. I have way more training than anybody does. And again, I would just download this, put them in your phone, and then just listen to them while you're at the gym, between appointments, or right before you go to bed in the morning or your workout. Anything that you can get kind of time to really excel, that's what I would do. I think she froze here, but yeah, I mean, I would say that's the biggest thing is like if you all want to get ahead of it, you need to do some like self-help and download a ton of audios and see how fast you can get to 40 hours a week in training without waiting for your manager to call you and say, "Hey, you have to come to a training and learn." It's like by the time the month is done, you're going to have close to 150 hours of training versus the person next to you is going to have 5. Who do you think is going to be better? Right? So, that's my biggest tip. That's what I do now. Still, I'm always consistently kind of training myself in different skills, whether it's this or another business. So that's what I got for you guys.
Real quick, Joseph, what's been your biggest order of your career?
Uh, about 200,000
And at the boot, what's been your biggest order?
at the booth. I think like 40 or 50,000. Yeah.
Yeah, so just to share that, guys,
What's your biggest day at the booth, Joseph?
My biggest day at the booth. Probably like 50 to 70,000. Yeah. Doesn't happen often. It hasn't happened in a while, but it's happened. So yeah, some of the leads you get at the booth are you'll want to go visit them and kind of build a relationship with them, and if you meet the right customer, and again, like I talked about the tools, right? Some of the tools are going to be the pricing guide, just the information that you can listen to on Vector Connect. That's a big tool. So if you're not taking advantage of the free tools that people in our company charge $20,000-$30,000 for, like I would take advantage of it. It's all out there and it's free. So
perfect. So, Joseph, does anyone else have any more questions for Joseph? No? Well, Joseph, we want to thank you for your time. This was a great talk. Even I took some good notes out of this. I'm excited to try this out and sell more barbecue sets, more gourmet sets as well. And
here,
now
I'm gonna do something also for y'all. I'm gonna give you my notes on this talk. And let's see. What's a good email for you?
Manny at stxcutco.com.
Oh, I'm sending you the other one. Manual. I sent you another one.